Welcome as we continue to discover how God is at work through the life of Esther. I hope you had a great week last week and we're jumping into week 2 this week. Have you ever been in one of those situations where you see something happening or you notice something and you think, man, should I do something? Should I step in? Maybe another way of saying this, if you've ever been having a day, one of those days, like just a day, and you see someone struggling with something or something that's going on, and you kind of have this debate in your head. Should I say something? Should I get involved? And I don't want to poke my nose into anyone's business. Well, they probably ask for help if they really needed it. Man, I'm really tired and I'd rather not get caught up in a messy, time-consuming conversation. Have you ever had any of those thoughts? Yeah, me too. Here's my struggle sometimes. I want God to use me. I want to be helpful to people, but there are times, many times, where I really don't want to be inconvenienced or feel like I'm inadequate maybe to help someone in need. Maybe I feel like their need or what's happening is larger than what I can actually provide any helpful, substantive help. Well, as we unpack more of Esther's story, we find that she had a moment of decision about being involved with what God was doing, where God was at work. This week, as we work through the last part of chapter 2 and all of chapter 3 and chapter 4, we pick up Esther's story after she had already been made queen. And if you want to review a little bit, remember she was an orphan girl. She was from a foreign country who was also got involved in one of the strangest and most questionable beauty pageants ever to become queen. God had opened up some incredible doors, and now she was queen. She was safe. She was secure. She was well taken care of. She no longer had to worry about anything. Really, everything that she could possibly want, she had. And for the rest of her life, she wanted to push the coast button. She could have coasted through life and she would have been well taken care of. Well, Esther had an uncle named Mordecai, and he was a man who was very close to God. He was a man of integrity and character. Well, we read that Mordecai found out one day that there was a threat on the king's life, and he told Esther about it, and Esther had a choice. Do I tell the king, or do I say, hey, this is none of my business? Because there was a risk. Like, what if what Mordecai's saying wasn't true? What if she had risked and went in front of the king and said, hey, I think there's somebody trying to kill you, and it wasn't true? Could she get in trouble? Could she get pushed out? Like, all her safety and security, could that be on the line? So Esther had a decision to make, and what she did was she said, okay, I'm going to go warn the king. So she told the king. They found out that actually it was true. There was traitors that were going out to get him. They found the traitors. They dealt with them. And I don't know about you, but when you're used by God and there's some positive things, I wonder how she felt. I don't know, but I'm guessing she felt like, wow, God really used me for something cool here. God helped me make sure that the king stayed safe. It's probably a good season. It's probably a good feeling for her. But then let's look at chapters 3 and 4, because another situation arises, and this is a little more complex. Because there was also, during that time, a guy named Haman. Haman, the king had appointed Haman as a really important guy. He had a lot of authority, a lot of pull. He was a guy who could make things happen. And he was just a really go-getter, a really type A type person probably. He was also probably a person who didn't like people who didn't like him. He needed to feel like everybody valued him. Well, one of the things that Haman felt was that Mordecai, again, Esther's uncle, didn't respect him. And this was kind of a ongoing feud that happened. Well, Haman got really upset, and he found out that he just didn't want to get Mordecai in trouble. He wanted to include a lot more people, and he found out that Mordecai was Jewish. So he got the king to pass this law that at a certain date, all Jewish people could be killed, and whoever killed them got to claim their possessions. So the king passed the law. Mordecai found out, and he was desolate. I mean, he was grieving. He was sad. There's a couple things you want to know about, just if you don't know this. First is that not too many people knew that Esther was a Jew at this point. Number two is, once a king passed a law, it couldn't be overturned. So Mordecai was like, man, the whole Jewish people are in trouble. And Esther saw that he was mourning and he was grieving. So she sent people and he responded back. They went back and forth a little bit. Finally, he said, okay, because Esther didn't know about the law yet. And Mordecai said, here, tell her everything. So this servant went and told her everything. And she was just like, whoa. But Mordecai also said, hey, Esther, I need you to go to the king. I need you to ask him to help us out. Well, again, Esther, here, if you understand Esther, you have to see that this was a crisis. This was a moment where she had to decide what to do next. Because here's the truth. Not too many people knew that she was a Jew. Even if they did, nobody was going to kill the queen. She was probably herself safe. Also, there was a law that said if you came in front of the king, no matter who you were, including the queen, if you came in front of the king and you weren't invited, you were going to be killed unless he extended his royal scepter towards you. So not only was she risking, like she could have stayed safe, but she was actually risking her life to go in front of the king. And she had a lot to think about, a lot to debate in her own head. Mordecai also said this, and a lot of us know this if you've read Esther. He said this statement, but what if you were put in a place of being queen for such a time as this? I don't know, there are moments in life where the Holy Spirit just lands a question that on your heart and just makes you stop and believe that, whoa, maybe this is really important. And I believe that this is a moment that Esther just kind of got, the Holy Spirit just kind of convicted her, it just stopped her in her tracks and she had to reflect. What if, not that God caused all this, but what if I could use being taken from my home country, being orphaned, working, trying to strive day by day just to get enough food to eat for so much of my childhood, to the point now where I'm queen. What if God used all of those bad things, all those negative things, that it's set up for a time such as this, where I can be used to help not only save a couple people, but my whole race. So she did some reflection. She did some thinking and she did some praying, and she said, okay, here's the answer. Mordecai, here's your insurance. Go get people to pray for me because I'm going to go. Tune back next week to figure out how that went. But here's what I want us to think about today as we're thinking about God is at work. And what if he puts us in the right place at the right time for the right thing? Will we have the courage to do what he's put us in place to do? See, some of us struggle to believe that we can be used by God for little or big things. But I want to encourage you, God isn't worried about the size of what you do. He's worried about and he's concerned about, and he invites us in our heart condition about being available to be used by him. He'll take care of the size. He'll take care of the weight of it. He'll take care of all those things. He's not asking us to carry huge weight. He's in huge responsibility. What he's asking us to do is be available and be used and step towards him. So how does that look like in our normal lives? I would encourage you to pause and examine your life. Look back. Look back at your past. Some of it's really hard and some of it's really painful and some of it's really unfair, but that's your past. That's what you've been through. How could God use your past for something for someone? Then look around. Look where you're at right now. Who are your friend groups? What's your workplace environment? What are the different community groups and different situations you're involved in? What are those places? Where could he be inviting you to engage? And then look up. Keep your eyes focused on him. Keep your eyes focused on what's going on right around you. Because when you look back and remember, oh yeah, this is my history. This is what I've been through. And look around and these are the people and these are the things that God has me involved in right now. And then you look up and go, okay, God, where can I be used? He can do incredible things. Let me give you a quick story. This past Easter in my life, but this past Easter, I was at my church. I have a lot of responsibility. There's tons of things going on, tons of different things. And I just felt God saying, the Holy Spirit saying, okay, just go over this direction. And so I went over this direction. It was people that had questions about faith. And I was, you just see that person. There's this guy that I'm like, oh man, it's going to be a conversation. So I said, Holy Spirit said, go for it. So I went for it and I started talking to this guy named Harry I said, hey, what's up? How can I help you? And he goes, I'm going to get baptized. I made a decision to follow Jesus. And I'm like, awesome. Tell me about that. And he goes, yeah, April 4th. I was sitting on my bed with a loaded gun to the roof of my mouth. And he goes, there's a lot of stuff that's happened. Just found out the person I was with had cheated on me. Didn't feel like there's anything to do with life. Life was meaningless. And then there was this moment, he goes, when I just felt God saying, you're worth it. And he goes, I put the gun down, started to lean in, said, okay, God, I'm yours. There's a lot more to the story, and I learned so much from him and was so encouraged from him. But I got to sit there just to support him, encourage him, celebrate with him as he made the decision to follow Jesus. So I wonder, in your life, where are the people in your life that you need to be available for? Do you have the courage to step into a conversation? Here's what I encourage you to do. Ask the Holy Spirit, where do you want me? Every day, just wake up, ask the Holy Spirit, where do you want me? Move in the direction. Again, these are hard things to do. Then move in the direction that he invites you to do that. It's probably not going to be in the direction you want to go. It might not be the situation, but move towards it. More move in that direction, and then intentionally look for ways to engage. God is at work all around us. I invite you to step into that. I invite you to discover where he might have you be used to make him famous and to make people feel loved and cared for in new and powerful ways. Have a great week.